Welcome to INFOWARS Nightly News, Patriot Edition. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, filling in tonight for Alex Jones on this Wednesday, February 8th, 2012. We've got an amazing show coming up for you here. No, I'm not going to have these for the whole show. But look, we are patriots here, and we got a lot of great patriotic, freedom-oriented news coming up for you tonight. We've got an interview with Kurt Linderman, Sr. He is the father of a vaccine-injured child. He's been a 6-year activist trying to teach others about the dangers of vaccines. We've got a great interview with him coming up via Skype video. Also, we've got the TSA animation that will leave you rolling on the floor laughing. Trust me, don't blame me if you pull a muscle after watching this video with laughter. It's that good. It's coming up at the end of this show. We've also got a Ron Paul dollar bill to show you. And right here on the air, I'm going to commit an act of terrorism by paying for coffee with cash. Yes, indeed, all that and all the news is coming up right here on INFOWARS Nightly News. Thanks for tuning in. Now, leading off, we talked about that coffee situation. The FBI has now issued a series of posters that say it's an act of terrorism to pay for your coffee with cash. Now, that's just the poster that goes out to the coffee shops, and they warn about all kinds of things. And there's another poster that goes out to the internet cafes that warns of the signs of terrorism, like, using an anonymizer, or trying to protect your screen so that others can't see your password, or searching on, radical websites. Gee, you mean websites that might be telling the truth about how the government is committing the terrorism? Here's some of the stuff that's in here. Well, here's a quote from it. The federal government, this is a story on INFOWARS by Paul Joseph Watson. The federal government routinely characterizes mundane behavior as extremist activity or a potential indicator of terrorist intent. As part of its See Something, Say Something campaign, the Department of Homeland Security has educated the public that generic activities performed by millions of people every day, including using a video camera, talking to police officers. Oh, how dare you talk to officers? Wearing hoodies, driving vans, writing on a piece of paper, and using a cell phone recording application. These are all signs of potential terrorist activity. Yes, so just to prove that, hey, Darren, how much you want for that latte over there?
$1.50.
$1.50. I'm getting a discount. Here you go. All right, how about $2 in green Federal Reserve notes right there? Act of terrorism, folks. Act of terrorism, and I didn't even get my coffee. That's how bad it is. No, seriously, this is now going to get you called, the police called on you to have you investigated for possible acts of terrorism. Some other things that they say are possible acts of terrorism include if you go to a military surplus store and you buy MREs. Yeah, that's a sign you might be a terrorist. It's starting to sound like a Jeff Foxworthy comedy series. You know, you might be a redneck, those jokes. You might be a terrorist if you buy MREs. Well, why else would you go to a military surplus center except to buy some MREs and buy some ammo and buy some of the stuff you need to make it through the collapse that's coming because the Federal Reserve keeps printing this stuff down to the point where it's going to be valueless. So, of course, you need that anyway. I'm sorry, I don't mean to lose my temper, but this stuff drives me nuts. Next story. Feds label bulk buying of food a potential terrorist activity as well. Yeah, if you buy more food than you might need to survive through, let's say, a day, then you must be, stockpiling. And only crazy terrorists dare stockpile food. No, normal, rational people, they only have enough food to last for one meal, because they're totally dependent on the system and on the grocery store and on the processed food providers and the junk food providers, all that food, of course, being laced with GMOs and toxic chemical contaminants and other things that will make young men grow extra breasts because of the BPA that they're also packaged in. But that's another story. Moving on. I'm sorry to laugh about all this, but it's just so insane. FBI, Communities Against Terrorism. This is now the full collection of the flyers that the FBI has issued. 25 of them, count them, 25 that tell you things like, what should I consider suspicious? People or groups who, quote, provide identification that is inconsistent with what they, here we go, that's inconsistent or suspect, or they demand identity privacy. Like, I don't want to share my social security number with you because you might steal my identity. that statement now makes you a possible terrorist. You know, this reminds me, I went to a bank one time, this is a few years ago, to open up a bank account, but I was concerned about this bank's security. So I asked some basic questions. I said, how do you make sure that the signer of the checks on my account, that's really me? How do you make sure someone doesn't counterfeit my signature? You know what they told me? The fact that you're even asking that question means that you're a security risk and we don't want to open an account with you. Wow. So just asking basic questions, demanding your privacy now makes you a terrorist in the eyes of the FBI. Anyway, these flyers have gone out to hobby shops, to farm supply stores. Yeah, I guess stocking up on antibiotics for your chickens might also make you a terrorist. Construction sites, dive shops. Yeah, because terrorists love to spend a lot of time at the coral reef. Very effective. Martial arts, paintball. We've got, here, look at this massive packet. This is all the posters that the FBI has put out to all of these organizations to try to scare everybody into spying on each other. This is the best part of it. It's a surveillance police state now. You're supposed to be really paranoid and look around at everybody. Is someone using cash? Oh my God, is someone hiding their screen? Is someone using an anonymizer? Turn us all into a bunch of little paranoid psycho government snitches. That's what it's all about. That reminds me of a George Carlin skit. I wish he could host this show. Bring George Carlin back. Let him host this show for a night. He would have something good to say about it. But in any case, this is insanity and some great comedy that Carlin would have a very fun time with. Okay, global campaign calls for abolishment of the Constitution. This is the next piece of insanity in tonight's broadcast. Yes, the New York Times and other mainstream hoax media outlets have issued stories that say, well, the Constitution, it's all outdated, it's not adaptable, and it doesn't protect your entitlements. Oh yeah, you're entitled to vaccines, you're entitled to health care, well, death care actually, thanks to Obama. But these entitlements, they say, should be somehow in a document that's not the Constitution, therefore the Constitution is not very good. Well, you know what this is? Check it out. Let me read you a line from this. This is posted on INFOWARS, Kurt Nimmo and Alex Jones. The global elite will not rest, the story says, until they have revoked the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence. The New York Times continued this trend with an article entitled, "We the People Lose Appeal with People Around the World." Oh my, this is such a bit of disinfo. The problem, the author states, and the author's Adam Liptak, is that, quote, rights guaranteed by the American Constitution are parsimonious by international standards. They are frozen in amber. And he says the Constitution has a problem, and the Declaration of Independence has a problem that the rights are not open for interpretation and cannot be changed by the government. What are you talking about? The government changes it and reinterprets it all the time, much to our demise. What about the Supreme Court case, Wickard versus Filburn, I think 1943, where the government reinterpreted the Commerce Act to mean that the federal government could tell a farmer to stop growing his own crops to feed his own chickens, even though he wasn't selling that grain into interstate commerce. That's a radical reinterpretation. So the basic premise of this article by the New York Times is completely false to begin with. But even if it were true, they want to trash the Constitution and the Bill of Rights because it protects us from tyrants. Remember, it's the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth, the Fifth, the 10th, and many others that protect our rights against these tyrants. That's what they really want to get rid of. That's why they're really trashing the Constitution and running this total hoax that we don't need the Bill of Rights anymore. And of course, Obama agrees with that in signing the NDAA. So it's now become a pathetic collection of, well, basically, wouldn't you call them traitors? Aren't these acts of sedition to say that the Constitution should be abolished? I mean, we're talking about outright traitors now running the press, running Washington, running the executive branch, running the legislative branch. Do you realize that every member of Congress that voted for the NDAA is an unindicted criminal? That they should be prosecuted, indicted, that they should be tried by a jury of their peers? Because we will at least give them that right that they would deny to us, so that they can have a jury of their peers, even though they want to just take us and sweep us away into those dark military prisons with no due process whatsoever. It's too much sometimes. It really is. Have you seen this Ron Paul dollar? By the way, this is some hope. Can you get a shot of this? This is a $1 bill with Ron Paul. Here we go, right on. Ron Paul right here on the front of it. Instead of Washington, we have Ron Paul. Yes, I'm sure the Treasury Department is going to take some interest in this. Let me hold it up here. There's Mr. Paul. And on the back, check it out. You know what it says right here above the 1? In gold, we trust. That's great. Of course, it still has the all-seeing eye pyramid there as well. But okay, I didn't create that dollar, so you Treasury officials can leave me the hell alone. This is not my doing. All right, moving on to the teen girls who have been. A teen girl was rushed to the hospital for eating nothing but chicken nuggets for 15 years. This was reported on Yahoo News. I thought it was a hoax at first. It turns out it's actually a true story. This girl has been told in no uncertain terms that she will die if she carries on like this. And she's quoted by CBS News as saying that she can't eat anything else. I'm at my wit's end. I'm praying she can be helped before it's too late, says the story. Chicken nuggets, really? Is that all you can eat? That's mechanically separated chicken, which is some pretty gruesome stuff. Take a blender, some chicken skin, bones, and tendons, grind them all up and mash them through a sieve, and you too have mechanically separated chicken. Oh yeah, I'm not eating that. That didn't even cover what's in the dipping sauce. You know, all the high fructose corn syrup and everything else, all the chemicals in there. And look, how is it that every nugget box has the same assortment of exact shapes? That's scary. And in the UK, chicken nuggets are made with a chemical ingredient that's also found in silly putty. Yes, indeed, that's true.